This story is about a hardened bounty hunter who accepts a high-paying contract only to discover the target is his daughter. Rain scattered across the outer viewport like bullets against glass. The ship rumbled through ionic interference as it descended toward the fractured belt of Neutral Quadrant 6. Trent Maddox gripped the control yoke tighter, keeping his eyes locked on the flickering nav data. Systems blinked amber across the dash. He liked this zone. No patrols, no questions, just opportunity. That was all he wanted anymore. He sat in the command chair, armor plating dull with wear, scars etched across his forearms like faded maps of places long burned away. Contracts came in silent and clean. Transfer, accept, terminate, repeat. Trent worked alone, lived light, and left no trace. The comm buzzed. Transmission incoming, his onboard AI Mareth chimed. Encrypted, triple layer, source, Federation Logistics Division, code tier, Crimson. He leaned back, eyebrows low. Crimson codes came with two things, vault-level pay and corpses. Open it, Trent said. The screen shimmered, then bloomed with the client's sigil. A smooth-voiced handler read the terms. High-priority extraction, target classified as rogue data runner, location Tarsus Drift, Grid 7. Retrieval was authorized alive or dead. Payout, 3 million credits. No questions. Deadline, 5 days. Then came the data file. He tapped the decryption protocol. It crawled slow through his visor HUD, slicing through firewalls until a biometric profile loaded. When the facial ID finally pinged through, he stopped breathing. The elements he now saw yet revealed to him all he needed. It was her. Ava? The screen froze. Her eyes stared back, older but unmistakable. Same jawline, same stubborn angle to the chin. She had changed her hair, darker now, buzzed close on one side. But he knew. The neural scan signature confirmed it. Trent sat motionless. His throat tightened. Heat flushed the back of his neck. "Friend," Mirth said softly, "would you like me to flag this job as invalid?" He stood and walked to the side wall. The ship hummed, wind brushing against the hull. He had not seen Ava in 11 years. "No," he said. "Mark it active." "Understood. Upload the dossier to my HUD. Prep landing sequence for Tarsus." Mirth paused. "Committing to mission parameters will initiate agency trace. Cancellation will trigger breach protocols. Are you sure?" He stared out at the distant asteroid field ahead. Cold. Silent. "I said commit it." The contract sealed with a flash of red. From this point on, he was flagged as active. Any deviation would be flagged as treason. If they suspected he knew her, it would get him both terminated. He ran a hand over his face. This was not a mistake. It was bait. 3 hours later, he stepped off the ship into the damp core market of Tarsus Drift. The place reeked of coolant leaks and overused air filters. Neon flickered through the gloom, highlighting scavengers, traders, mercs, all scraping their way through the ruin of war-torn neutrality. He moved quiet, helmet low, sidearm hidden under his coat. The target trace pinged to a lower-tier data spike tower. Surveillance cams had her last at Bay 9, near a scrapped med station. He passed a woman selling neural stim patches. "You seen this girl?" he asked, flashing the decoy image. She frowned. "Yeah, yesterday. Paid for 2 water cells and vanished into the east tunnel." He kept moving, checking movement patterns. Ava would be smart enough to scramble her biosig, but if she was running data as flagged, she would need uplinks, shelter, and power. That meant backdoors or blacknet rigs. Trent reached Bay 9 by evening. His boots clicked across the rusted flooring. Power hummed low. He saw the faint glimmer of a sensor rig recently used. Then he heard a faint scrape, not loud, but close. He turned, blaster drawn. A cloaked figure dropped from the upper duct, rolling fluidly behind a crate. Trent flanked right, but the figure moved fast, launching into a sprint through the far exit. He chased, heart pounding, She was smaller, faster, darting through side corridors like she knew every shortcut. But he kept pace, closing in. Through one broken ventway, then into the lower maintenance hatch. She reached the end of a service hallway. The access door flashed red. Locked. Trent aimed his blaster and stepped into view. "Stop," he said. She froze, hood still on, breathing heavy. "Turn around." He saw her eyes, not just her face from a file, her eyes. They locked on his, and in that moment, every wall he had built fractured. Her voice was quiet. "Hello, Dad." His gun trembled. "Hey, my hell are you here, Ava?" "You came for the bounty, right?" she asked. Figures. They must have known you wouldn't resist a crimson tear. He took a step closer, lowering the weapon. "You stole war intel? What the hell are you thinking?" "I didn't steal anything," she said. "I extracted a kill switch. It's encoded for a viral dispersal weapon the Federation plans to drop on civilian sectors." "That's not possible. This job was posted under intel breach, high priority." "Exactly. And you're the only one who knows how to disarm it." Trent's mind reeled. The code, the bait, the timing. "You defected?" "I escaped." He stared hard at her. "Why you?" "I found the delivery schedule. I saw the bioload manifest. Dozens of populated colonies in gray zones. They're planning mass termination and blame it on unknowns. I ran before they could erase me." He clenched his jaw. His mouth was dry. "Then why flag the contract? Why not disappear?" "Because I needed you to see it. They'd only send someone who could neutralize the weapon. You're the failsafe. They couldn't let you walk away, so they made me the target." Trent stepped back. His whole body felt heavy. "If they think I hesitated, they'll flag both of us. We'll be dead before the cycle ends." "I know," Ava said. Trent looked at her. His daughter. No longer a child. No longer safe. He checked his scanner. They had under 7 hours before trace algorithms pinged his delay. He holstered his weapon. "You have the switch?" She nodded, pulling a tiny neural core from her coat. It pulsed faintly. "You better be right," he said, "because if we're doing this, we've got one shot." She held his gaze. "We do it together." He looked once more at the door behind her. There would be no turning back now. Then he turned toward the dark corridor ahead. Time to run. The first thing Trent did was fry the nearest surveillance node. He jammed a fusion spike into the wall panel beside the locked door, flooding the local grid with signal noise. Sparks burst behind the housing. The lights overhead dimmed, then flickered back with a weaker glow. Ava crouched beside him, watching the corridor. "You just blinded 4 streets of cams," she said. "Good," Trent replied. "We've got 10 minutes before someone notices." They moved fast, cutting west through a defunct mag-rail tunnel beneath the market. Ava led, feet sure on the slippery tracks. Trent followed, checking his sensors for movement. "You always carry that much jamming gear?" she asked. "These days," he said. "Too many eyes, too few friends." At the far end, they emerged into a dead shipping depot once used for processing ore. Crates lay shattered and rusted. A broken loading mech hunched in the corner like a dead giant. Ava led him up a narrow service ladder into a sealed control room. "This is where I've been decoding the kill switch," she said, waving him inside. The room smelled like burned circuits and recycled air. Wires and signal drives cluttered the floor. A single holo console glowed over a rusted desk. Ava keyed a sequence into a data port. The neural core blinked, then opened a projection above the table. Trent stepped closer. The image showed a genetic cipher, mesh strands of viral code, twisting and branching. At its center pulsed a thin strand, marked with a red filament. "This is the kill switch," Ava said, key to disable the viral genome embedded in Project Orpheon. Trent's mouth went dry. "I thought Orpheon was decommissioned." "It was relocated, not destroyed." He stared at the strand. "What's the trigger vector?" "Atmospheric nanocarriers. Once deployed, it mimics respiratory immunohormone shifts. Untraceable. Death in under 4 hours, masked as exotic illness. The kill switch halts that chain. How many copies exist? Allow me. Here. Trent turned away, fists clenched. This wasn't a rogue job, it was a cleanup, a warning. He was supposed to either kill his daughter or deliver her back to be erased. And if she was right, everyone on that list would be dead within a week. He faced her. You trust this data? I stole it from the core vault with half of Sector 9 after me, she said. I verified it twice. I've got one upload route left through a hidden relay near the old comm towers in Kesar Ridge. Trent thought fast. Kesar Ridge was an unstable zone, bandits, atmospheric spikes, no grid stability. But off-network meant off-trace. How far? 70 clicks, 2-day hike unless we can boost transport. Trent tapped into his HUD. The ship was under watch now, no return. The only vehicle they could use was something from the drift or salvage yards. Loud, exposed. I can get a crawler, he said, but we move now. They packed fast. Ava loaded the neural core into a hardened capsule. Trent scouted the exit, leading them back out through the tunnel maze toward the salvage quadrant. The rain had started again, slicking the metal walkways. He paused as a cluster of mercs passed by. Heavy gear, black armor, clean movements. Federation. They ducked back behind a rusted bay. They're here, Ava whispered. Scanning for hesitation response, Trent muttered. Means they flagged me already. Timing suggests they want confirmation I saw you. So what happens if they spot us together? We'll open fire. They moved under cover, darting between stacked towers and busted skiffs. Trent found a grounded recon crawler with half a tank and a patched control panel. This will do, he said. As they powered up the crawler, a proximity alert shrieked across his visor. Contact. Drone signature. Vectoring to our location. Hold on, Ava shouted as he slammed the accelerator. The crawler tore out of the bay just as a flash beam scorched the spot they had been parked. A drone zipped past, recalibrating. Another flash of blue light sliced the air. Trent cut hard left, smashing through a side fence into a spillway tunnel. The crawler bounced violently over the metal grating, then shot into darkness. 2 more drones entered pursuit. Ava pulled out a jamming stick and slammed it against the dashboard. Static flared through the comm bands. They're rerouting, 2 minutes behind. That's enough, Trent growled. Buckle in. He dropped the crawler into manual override and aimed straight for a decompression gate at the end of the tunnel. A pressure seal hung ajar, leaking gas into the passage. Trent, Ava said, that's not stable. Neither are we. He hit full thrust. The crawler smashed through the gate, ripping into open wasteland beyond the drift. A storm raged overhead, thick with magnetic dissonance. Sand and dust lashed the windshield. Behind them, 2 drones cleared the gate, engines shrieking. Trent opened the side panel and yanked free his old magnetic harpoon. He waited until the lead drone dove, then fired. The tether struck its wing with a burst of sparks. He braced as the crawler jolted. What are you doing? Ava shouted. Giving us cover. He dragged the drone into the second one midair. Both spiraled and exploded in a bloom of fire. Trent turned back to the front. The ridge lay ahead, barely visible through the storm. We'll make camp before we reach the outer basin, he said. How do you know the upload will work? I don't, he said, but I know one thing. If we stop now, this war gets buried under 10,000 bodies. And I'm not letting them turn you into a trigger. They drove into the storm. Ava sat quietly beside him, her fingers gripping the capsule tight. The road ahead was unstable, but the goal was clear. Trent had taken the job, but now, for the first time in years, he had a reason to finish it. By dawn, the storm had passed. The crawler rolled to a halt at the edge of Kesar Ridge. Black rock and ash stretched to the horizon, carved with fissures from seismic collapses. Radiation pillars blinked in the distance, relics from old planetary mining systems, now abandoned to entropy. Trent checked the scanner. Radiation's below threshold, but the air's thin. We hike the rest. He shouldered a pack, checked his blaster's charge, and helped Ava strap the capsule tight to her gear. She nodded, silent but focused. The ridge was quiet except for the wind slicing through jagged rocks. Each step sent dust clouds swirling. Hours passed as they moved through crevices and dead canyons, always under cover, following a zigzag path toward the uplink point Ava had locked weeks earlier. At midday, they reached a ridge crest overlooking a shattered transmission array. Burned-out relay towers littered the valley. Most were gutted, but one stood half-stable, tilted but upright, its base buried in slag. Ava raised a scope. That's the uplink, signal relay node 3XA. I encrypted a bypass channel inside the transmission core. Can you still access it? Trent asked. Yes, but it needs power, external input. We'll have to climb and jack in manually. Trent surveyed the area. Too open. You'll be visible the moment you connect. We don't have a choice. They descended, sticking close to the shadows. Trent set up a perimeter grid with proximity alerts. Ava unpacked a hardened data pad and cross-linked the neural capsule. She looked at him. When I connect this, it'll ping across 12 dormant satellites. Someone's going to notice. Then we keep them busy, Trent said. She climbed. The tower groaned under her weight, but held. She reached the junction box, 20 meters up, and pried it open. Sparks jumped as she forced the power bridge online. The console flickered to life. Ava locked in the sequence and inserted the capsule. Below, Trent knelt behind a half-collapsed wall. The air changed. He felt it. Movement. Then a flicker scout drones, barely visible, descending fast through the clouds. Mirth, he whispered. Broadcast decoy signatures. Flare all pings, except ours. Done. Trent opened fire the moment the first drone passed overhead. The shot slammed into its engine mount. It spiraled and crashed behind a boulder. More followed. From the south, 3 black suits advanced. Heavy armor. Rail rifles. Silent. Trent moved. He sprinted along the edge of the relay field, drawing their fire. He ducked behind slag piles, using the terrain for cover. One of the mercs advanced too fast. Trent popped up, fired 2 bursts, one in the leg, the other through the visor. The man dropped. The others flanked wide, moving with practiced formation. Trent activated a thermal flare and tossed it right. It ignited in a burst of heat, confusing their sensors. He shot left, zigzagging until he reached the downed drone. He ripped out its fusion cell and set a short delay charge. 10 seconds later, the explosion tore a crater in the valley floor. Above! Ava shouted into her mic. Upload at 60%, signal instability rising. Finish it, Trent barked. He checked his clip. 2 charges left. His side ached somewhere in the chaos. He had taken a glancing shot to the ribs. Another drone shrieked overhead. He spun, fired, hit its tail. It careened and exploded midair. Then he saw them 3 more drop pods, streaking through the sky. Reinforcements. He sprinted back toward the tower. Ava was still up there, fingers flying over the console. He never got off it. Now. Upload complete, she shouted. Sending redundancy chain. A blue light burst from the console. The capsule pulsed. Then the uplink ignited, its transmitter array flaring with data discharge. Behind him, another pod landed. The hatch opened. A figure stepped out. Trent froze. It was Renner, the man who had trained him 30 years ago. The old handler walked forward in polished gray armor, his sidearm low at his hip. He looked older, but no less dangerous. You were always predictable, Trent, Renner said. Not predictable, just loyal to the wrong people. You had a job, you took the contract, and now look at this mess. You used her to get to me? Renner nodded. Of course. You're the only one who could disarm Orpheon without tripping the failover. But you got sentimental. You made it personal. You were going to kill her either way. She's a breach vector. You know the rules. Trent pulled his weapon. Renner didn't flinch. You won't beat me, Trent. No, he said. But I'm not alone. The moment Renner stepped forward, Ava dropped from the tower behind him. She landed hard, knees buckling, but kept moving. She slammed a stun baton into Renner's back. He cried out, dropping to one knee. Trent fired once, clean and fast, into the base of his former handler's neck. Renner collapsed without a sound. Ava breathed hard. That was for 10 years of lies. Trent checked her over. No injuries, no hits. You okay? She nodded. He looked at the smoking tower. The data was out, the kill switch was live in the net. Copies would bounce between backdoor relay points for weeks. Every hidden weapon deployment now had a trace and a countercode. When it was done, Trent turned and limped toward the crawler. What now? Ava asked. We disappear, he said. We just made enemies across every quadrant. But we bought time. Time for people to see what was really happening. Will they believe it? They'll believe the bodies stopped falling. She helped him into the seat. The pain in his ribs was worse now. He would need treatment soon. But it could wait. They still had time before the next wave came. As the sun rose behind them, Trent glanced at Ava. For the first time since she was a girl, she looked like she had stopped running. So had he. They made it 12 kilometers before the crawler died. The terrain near the Seric wastes chewed up the drive stabilizers, and without a proper field kit, Trent had no way to fix it. He ran diagnostics while Ava stood watch, wind tugging at her jacket. The scanner returned a bleak set of numbers. Core overheated, nav board fried, fuel cell drained dry. Trent closed the panel. We walk. Ava gave a short nod. She hadn't complained once since they left the ridge. Her silence wasn't fear. It was calculation. The kind that came from too many close calls and not enough people worth trusting. They moved west, into the canyons beyond the crater shelf, staying low. The uplink had done its job, but too much had gone quiet since. No intercepts, no tracking signals, no countermeasures. It didn't feel like safety. It felt like a trap that had closed and now waited. Where do we go? Ava asked after they stopped to rest on a flat ridge of basalt. Trent didn't answer right away. He drank from a cracked water tube, then handed it to her. Eastbound to Gratham Outpost. I know someone with a med shuttle and no love for the Federation. Ava leaned back against the rock. You think the kill switch upload held? I know it did. Whether anyone listens before another order drops is the real question. She didn't press further. Trent appreciated that. His side still throbbed. Under the armor, the skin was bruised purple-black. Probably cracked ribs, maybe worse. He kept moving because stopping meant time to think, and thinking meant remembering why he was really out here. Not because he took the job. Because 11 years ago, he hadn't fought hard enough to stop the last war from taking his daughter away. They made it into a sub-hab zone by nightfall. The ruins of an old supply depot still stood, half covered by sand and silence. Inside, they set up a heat coil and used scavenged fiber to bind Trent's side. Ava applied a coagulant patch and sat beside him, watching the storm roll across the skyline. You knew about Orpheon, didn't you? She asked. Trent didn't flinch. Only the early phase. Bioweapon research under a different name. I figured they scrubbed it when the Senate passed the War Crimes Resolution. Ava rubbed her hands together. They didn't. They just hid it better. He stared into the fire. You were 14 when I left. She didn't speak. I thought pulling away would keep you safe, keep them from using you. You disappeared, she said. Not just from me, from everything. Trent closed his eyes. I couldn't stop what was coming, so I got good at cleaning up the aftermath. You killed for them. I followed contracts. I didn't ask why, not once. That's on me. Silence again, but not the cold kind, not anymore. Ava reached into her satchel and pulled out a strip of old synth fabric. It was blue with a faded logo from some ancient amusement ring on Mars. She tossed it beside him. "You kept this," he said. "You gave it to me before the riots. Said if I ever needed to run, I should remember I had somewhere to return." He folded the fabric slowly, hands steady despite the pain. "I meant it." Around midnight, movement in the outer corridor snapped both awake. Trent was on his feet, instantly, blaster drawn. Ava flanked the door with her shock baton. The shadow that entered was limping, its cloak burned and torn, but the voice was unmistakable. "Trent, Ava, don't shoot." It was Mirth. The AI's housing was inside a portable drone shell, half charred, clearly scavenged from the crawler wreck. "What the hell?" Ava whispered. Mirth's voice came through broken speakers. "Tracking interference activated. I rerouted myself through independent hardware. I located high-band comms traffic, intercepted a code you need to see." Trent helped prop the drone on a crate. Mirth projected a message in the air above the fire. "Encrypted, Federation command level, 5 hours old." It read, "Subject: Ava Maddox confirmed alive. Contingency active. Deploy Operation Glass Needle. Neutralize all assets." Trent's jaw clenched. Glass Needle. They're wiping the board. "They can't erase the kill switch," Ava said. "They don't need to. They just need the narrative to say you died stealing enemy intelligence. Kill you, burn the proof, then flood the newsfeed. How long before they strike?" Mirth's voice flickered. 5 to 6 hours. Gunship class intercept. Trajectory plotted to Gratham Outpost. You must leave now." Trent stood slowly. His ribs screamed, but he ignored it. "There's one place left," he said. "An old friend. Off-grid, runs ghost recon satellites for pay. If I can get him the data burst from the kill switch chain, he can make sure every surviving node in neutral space sees it." Ava nodded. "Then we split. You send the data, I draw fire." "No, they'll kill you. And they'll kill both of us if we're together." Trent looked her in the eye. "I'm not losing you again." "You already did," she said softly. "We both did. But we're not those people now." He didn't argue. Instead, he gave her the uplink core from Mirth's casing and reset her cloak's masking field. "You give them a chase. Loud, stupid, flashy. Then I stay quiet." She turned away, paused at the exit. "You were right, you know, about what kept me going." Trent looked up. "It wasn't vengeance," she said. "It was the hope that someone who left could still come back." Then she ran into the night. Trent watched the flames for a moment longer, then set his final plan in motion. The friend was real. A ghost signal broker named Nolan Harp, buried deep in the folds of asteroid Terra's V, took 2 favors and a signature burner beacon to connect, but the link went through. "You still alive, Maddox?" Nolan asked, voice dusty with sarcasm. "Barely. Got your name on a dozen bounty boards. What's the favor?" Trent uploaded the kill switch netburst, wrapped in encrypted testimony, coordinates, and satellite receipts. "Need this viral proof seeded to every major faction in neutral space. Broadcast anonymously. Wide spectrum and brute force." "Sure. Want me to add a musical intro?" "Just do it." Trent leaned back as the comm cut out. 5 minutes later, Nolan sent confirmation. Message sent. Thousands of eyes were seeing it now. Senators, journalists, commanders, activists, too many to silence. By dawn, the Federation had not responded. No public denial, no retaliation, just silence. Trent limped north, away from the strike vector. No signs of pursuit. A week later, a coded transmission reached him through Black Channel. It was Ava. She was safe. Injured, but moving. No signature trails, no satellites overhead. Off-grid. Her final message was only a few words. They believe it. The kill switch started a storm. He allowed himself a moment to sit by the edge of a cliff on some forgotten moon, staring out at a sky with no ships in it. He had done terrible things in his life, but not this one. This one, he got right. He pulled the faded blue fabric from his coat pocket and tied it around his wrist. And then without another word, he stood and kept walking.